Hello Internet, welcome to my scary basement dungeon. It's been 2023 for almost maybe 10 days, and that means that I've been not doing my New Year's resolutions. Doing exercise is stupid and hard, but unfortunately for me, I'm out of shape, and my doctor says that I have to start exercising or I will die eventually. So to make things easier, I put together a really simple barbell jack. Perfect. If you've used a barbell before, one of the things that you'll notice is removing and adding weights is one of the more difficult parts as you start to get further into your sets. In general, when you're lifting, the goal is to follow your plan as closely as possible, and when you're struggling to move stuff on and off of your barbell, you're actually going to be expending additional energy that you could be using in your actual lifts. So adding something like a barbell jack into your routine is going to make it a little bit more productive. This video isn't about doing exercise. I mean, it's kind of about doing exercise, but it's mostly about building stuff to do exercise easier. So we're gonna go out to the place. Now, when working with power tools, it's always important to keep in mind that you want to keep your workspace as clean and clear as possible. It's really important that you have the ability to move around and not have to worry about tripping over something or having something catch. Oh yeah, well, yeah, I'm just gonna do it anyways. To get started, I'll just try and make somewhat clear workspace. To actually build this, there's not a lot of parts involved and there's not a lot of equipment. To get started, you'll need a small piece of 2x4 at least 13 inches long, a hole saw that's at least 1/8 of an inch larger than the diameter of your bar. I just used a 2-inch hole saw. It's going to fit pretty much everything unless you're doing specific grip training. Goggles, jigsaw blade that can probably hopefully cut wood. Something to measure with, a drill, a weight plate if you've got one. I didn't take any video of me dropping it, but some type of marking device like a pen or honestly even spray paint. And the most critical part of this entire build, 2 dogs. If you're short on materials, you could potentially just use one, but 2 dogs is optimal.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
Oh god. Now that I've got everything for the build, I'm going to start by measuring out just kind of rough dimensions of what I want. Not really being too specific, it's literally just a 2x4 with holes cut into it so that we can lift a piece of metal off the ground. Doesn't have to be very specific. Since I've got a plate, I'm actually just going to take it, put it on top of it with roughly about 1 inch or 2 of additional clearance from where it would actually hit the ground if it had a bar through it setting on the ground. Just going to take a can of spray paint, spray inside the center, it's going to give me a little circle, and that's going to tell me where I need to put my hole. See? Circle. Here's the part where I show you the thinning hair on the back of my head. Just measuring about 2 inches from the top of that circle for where our cut's going to go. Now for this part, you potentially could use the jigsaw to cut this portion off of it, but I have a chop saw, so I'm just going to use that. Now I just cut where I'm marked. And now I have a chunk of wood. Now here, I position the camera just above where I'm actually working on the piece of wood. This way, you can know what a person looks like when they're drilling through wood, and you can kind of just imagine what the wood might look like. Some of you may have noticed the vise next to me and thought, why didn't you put it in the vise? And that's a good question. I think my thought process was that I was going to demonstrate that you could do this without the use of clamps or vices, but you shouldn't. Which honestly doesn't make any sense because really you should not be using a jigsaw without the use of both hands, and I immediately then clamp this down when I use the jigsaw. Oh yeah, and I drew lines for where I'm going to make the cuts. Really you just need to kind of have like a roughly 45-degree angle coming out of it, but it does not have to be exact so long as the distance between the two lines is enough for the bar to actually fit through. And this is the part where I consider cutting it without clamping it down and realize how dangerous and stupid it would be and immediately go and find a clamp. So you also will need something to actually clamp this down and hold it to do this safely. Here we have another beautiful shot of my balding head. And sometimes the first cut on a jigsaw can end up with the saw blade bending and you don't really get a good cut. You can make a couple of extra passes to make sure that you're going to have a smooth enough slot for the barbell to actually fit through. And that was it. That's the whole build. That's all you need to do to make this stupid little tiny barbell jack. And it helps a lot when you're trying to actually do exercise. Now, a lot of people have a lot of different opinions. Some people think that you need to have a handle on something like this. But honestly, the barbell itself is a perfectly good handle. And once you've got it slotted in, it works perfectly fine. The largest complaint I could see somebody having is that the bottom doesn't have a lot of surface area, which I get on one hand, that does make it a little disable. But on the other hand, it was made out of literal garbage. Like, this build would take you maybe 10 to 20 minutes tops if you have the tools and a clean surface, like clean work area. And on top of that, the parts, like almost anyone who has worked with wood has at least 13 inches of 2x4 living in their house or garage or workspace in some way, shape, or form. So if you're trying to exercise and you want to make it a little bit easier, you can do this and it's not even going to be that difficult. And it's like really easy to use. You slot the barbell jack onto the barbell and pull the barbell towards the barbell jack. The weight from the barbell is just going to pull the entire thing upright, and then you're free to work on the different pieces holding everything together for the weights without having to worry about whether or not you're going to actually have clearance on the ground. Now, I'm sure you've noticed at this point that this is a little bit wobbly on mine, and that is because I had a scrap piece of wood that had a little glob of silicone on it. So this is just another reminder, like, you should always be inspecting all of your stuff before you start working on a project, but it's especially important when you're working with any type of scrap material that may have been living inside of your workspace for a long time. After I took the glob off the barbell jack, I just put it back down and started using it. It solved the problem. There was no more wiggle from the little piece that was sticking out. There you have it. A very easy to do, simple build if you have any of the tools existing and you're trying to get back into any type of exercise and kind of like a little bit of a lift. Now, this channel is obviously kind of new. I mean, it's been around for a while. I just haven't used it in a significant amount of time. But this is just kind of like an intro into the type of builds that I plan on doing. I built a lot of stuff. I built this doggy jail that my dogs tend to keep eating. Built my super cluttered standing desk that I'm editing this video at right now. Made this tiny laptop stand. I made this half door. And this half door. All of these wood countertops. This island with cabinets. The rest of the countertops. My kitchen table. And this thing that holds dog poop bags and hand sanitizer for some reason. But I didn't make any build videos for any of these builds that I did. And from now on, I'm gonna. Because you might want to watch them. Or you might not. This might be entirely for me. But, you know, if you enjoyed the video, you should do the liking thing and subscribe. And eventually there might be another dumb video where I build something out of garbage.